Happy Sunday, everyone. Welcome to Our Issues Birmingham. Today's guest is Steve Ammons. You may have heard that name before because he has been out there in many roles. Welcome to the show, Steve.
Thank you. Appreciate you having me.
It's been a while. We've been talking about this a bit, and we finally got you here. So I met Steve when he was on the Vestavia City Council. He did that for a bit. He became a Jefferson County Commissioner for a bit, and now he's the President and CEO of the Birmingham Business Alliance, which is a tremendously diverse career. Why don't you tell us a little bit about how you ended up where you are and where you came from?
Well, I think it's more of along the lines of, I'm a Rotarian, and my dad was a Rotarian, and the Rotary motto is service above self. So I've always tried to put my service above me. And so working on the city council, working with you on the city council, serving our citizens the best way we can, it's kind of the track that I found that a service attitude mixed very, very well. So working with public safety, with Parks and Rec alone is a whole other thing.
Oh, yeah.
But doing that,
school board.
yeah, and all those appointments, school board, library board, you have to want to be engaged.
Yeah.
To do the job right. And the old saying is, anybody going into elected office that doesn't have any background in it takes about 2 years before you really know what you're doing. So that led into me running for county commission to fill David Carrington's vacated seat. And if I had not had that background in municipal government and understanding every aspects of state law, Gadsby finance rules, all that, I don't think I would have been nearly as good as I was on the county commission. And on the county commission, I took the role as the economic developer for the county. And over the 4.5 years I was on the commission, and did economic development. We did a lot of really good things, had the largest capital investment in Jefferson County history in Smuckers at $1.2 million capital investment, which has set the track for, quality of life in different parts of the county. It's
jelly? You're talking about Smucker's
it's
jelly?
Uncrustables.
Uncrustables.
Are you familiar with Uncrustables?
I try to stay away from processed food.
Well, it's basically, when your mom used to make you a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, and then they would cut the crust off.
Yeah.
Okay, well, they compress that, so it's real jelly. It's Smucker's jelly.
It's not sawdust or
no,
anything?
No. I hope not. But they built a massive plant out in McCalla, and at the end of the day, it will be the world's largest continuous baking oven. That'll be located in McCalla, Alabama.
I don't think a lot of people know about that.
We tried to publicize it and do the best we could, but I think here in the next mid next year we'll have a ribbon cutting.
Okay.
For Smuckers.
Well, I look forward. I'll try to make it.
And you need to try one because not only do they make the ones with jelly, they make the ones with Nutella as well. So even
now
better.
I am a Nutella guy.
There you go.
So I guess I just contradicted myself because it is processed, but not a lot of Nutella. So then we had your replacement commissioner, Mike Boland, on recently. An opportunity popped up with the Birmingham Business Alliance, and you said?
I said no twice. And decided that if I wasn't going to do it, I served on the board of BBA for 4 years and knew the ins and outs. Working in economic development, I'd worked with the team very closely on a number of different projects. And when they came and kind of shopped it to me, I was like, I'm in a good place. I don't need to. And then I started thinking about, I'd been on the selection committee 2 other times, and it's like, okay, who would I put? Who would I want to be in that spot?
Well, this may sound a little basic, but I think there's a lot of people out there that would like to know the answer. What does the Birmingham Business Alliance do?
So the Birmingham Business Alliance is responsible for a 7-county region that is the attraction and marketing arm for our region for economic development purposes. We also do project management. We do a number of other programs, and we are also the Chamber of Commerce specifically for the city of Birmingham.
Just the city?
Just the city for one of our divisions.
Okay.
The other divisions will do the marketing and also the attraction side. So we have project managers and attraction members of our team that will go out and visit with site selectors in New York, Chicago, all kinds of places, and say, this is a place you need to be. Here's our quality of life. Here's our cost of living. Here are our interstates and our waterways and every aspect, our airport, and how can we better sell our region, because it's strong regions that are the ones that are winning. And so we have to show that we're a strong region.
And I think we do have a lot to offer because we're not oversized and we're not undersized. This is my perspective. Right. We're somewhere in the middle there, and we're easily accessible to a good bit of the Southeast particularly.
Yeah. Well, you look at it, we have not only 5 different interstate systems. We have an airport that can land a fully loaded, fully fueled 747. We have
twice a week.
Yeah, we can have 3 Tier 1 railroads that can reach the West Coast in 3 days, and we have an inland port that takes coal and so other aggregates down to the port of Mobile. So we have a good area which is at the core of the Southeast.
Well, hold that thought. I want to ask you some questions specifically about funding when we come back from break, because I am interested in knowing where the money comes from and where it goes to, I suppose. This is Our Issues Birmingham. We're going to take a short break. We'll be right back. Don't go away. Welcome back to Our Issues Birmingham. We're talking about some fun things about Birmingham. And, you know, Birmingham tends to be thought of as behind Atlanta, behind Charlotte, behind Nashville. Why aren't we doing this? Why aren't we doing that? The reality is we are doing some very good things. We may not be at the head of the line, but we're running the race for sure. Yeah. So when we closed the last segment, I was asking you about funding. Where does the money come from that causes y'all to operate? Because it does take money to do what you do, I'm sure.
Absolutely. Well, about 10% of it comes from governmental entities, and then the rest of it is private funding or corporate funding or foundations that buy in to support us being that marketing arm for the region.
And those have to be from individuals, for example, foundation money. They have to be from individuals who want to be a part of that growth of Birmingham that you're referring to.
We have more corporate dollars that come in, but we do have a 501c3 that folks that are interested in seeing our region grow and do better, that they can make contributions to that C3, and then that C3 contracts with our C6 to get things accomplished.
And is there a physical location with employees and all of that sort of thing?
We do. We're located in the heart of downtown in the financial building, and we have about...
Is that the pink building?
Yes.
Uh-huh.
Pinkish, reddish.
Yeah.
And we have about 21 employees that are working very hard right now they're working very hard at an economic development summit that we're kicking off tomorrow for our 7-county region.
Okay, and what does that consist of? When you say economic development summit, you bring people in from other places?
So we call it the Birmingham Business Alliance Regional Economic Development Summit, where we're bringing in our economic development allies, which could be from our 7-county region that we work with on a regular basis, economic development attorneys, corporate entities, municipal officials, local chamber of commerce folks that may not fully understand what economic development is to us. Economic development is a sociological term, it's not an economic term. So it's going to mean something different to to every entity. There's some instances or municipalities that it may be more aligned with retail rather than industrial. And our position is that we don't have huge interest in retail, because our job is to drive capital investment and drive the number of jobs, and a job at an above average wage.
Yeah.
And so that really takes us out of the retail sector.
So, and that was my question somewhat, was what's the pitch? I think you answered it when you talked about the ports, for example, the accessibility to the waterways,
Right.
the airport, and the other things that we do offer. You're working on something now in the marketing of Birmingham. I saw on the news, regular news.
Yeah.
What's that called, and could you tell us a little bit about it?
So it's our regional brand, and we've been working on that for a number of years, and it's called BHM, just like the airport code, right? That's our airport code, but it stands for Birmingham Has More. So what does Birmingham have more of? You could easily say we have more food. We've got great food.
Bookmakers.
We have more bookmakers.
Sorry, that's just the criminal defense lawyer in
There
me
you
coming
go.
out.
we have more opportunity. We have more diversity. We have more healthcare. We have more bio. We have more tech.
We have
could always
the healthcare is huge.
yes, and that's one of our areas of focus. So you can go to birminghamhasmore.com, and we'd like to hear from you. So there's a section on that website you can go down to and easily say Birmingham has more and fill in the blank. What do you think Birmingham has more of? That's the question that we ask. So we know that we have all these great things, but without people coming here, if they've never been here, they don't know how good we have it.
Well, where do you recruit from?
Everywhere.
Not
Everywhere.
outside of the United States, outside of
We spend time at the Paris Air
Paris Air
Show.
Show.
We'll be going to Farnborough this year. That is a part of the draw, because we have to respond more as a region. The airport has BHM as a part of the regional brand. So does St. Clair County, Shelby County, the city of Hoover, even Jefferson County. They have the BHM brand at the bottom of their website saying, hey, we are a proud member of the Birmingham region, and we're all together, because when you have site selectors or developers looking at you as a whole, are you all on the same page? And the more that we can show that we are all on the same page, even as fractured as our communities are, we are on the same page. We're working every day to make sure that we're coordinating more, and that BBA is becoming that convener that we can help send that message that we're together, we're working together, and by the way, this is a great place to work, live, and play.
And that would explain why, well, you said you had 10% funding from governmental entities. And I suppose that would be the incentive for those governmental entities to pitch in.
To be a part of that marketing, to help us market, because we're trying to all get on one page.
And you're not limited to the city limits of the city of Birmingham.
No.
As you said, it's a regional pitch, yes, for lack of a better word.
And again, strong economies are regional economies. We have 37 municipalities in Jefferson County. We need to make sure
which is rare.
Yeah, and which means that we have a lot of work to do to coordinate those to better tell the story of one community,
yeah,
one county, or one region.
Yeah, that we're going to take a break in a minute, but that does open up a tremendous discussion about the inefficiencies of having that many municipalities in one county.
Yeah.
Just my opinion. We're going to take a break. Don't go away. We'll be right back with Steve Ammons and the Birmingham Business Alliance. Welcome back to Our Issues Birmingham. We're discussing development, I guess, for lack of a better word, of our region, which we just identified the fact that Jefferson County has 35, 6, 7? 37 municipalities, which means we have 37, not quite, because some are serviced by the county, but 37 garbage crews, 37 mayors, 37 police departments, most inefficient in the world. It would have to be. Mm-hmm. So are we trying to do anything to change that dynamic? And if not, what is the cooperative effort amongst all of those 37 to try to advance the ball for the benefit of the whole?
Right. Well, when I was on the county commission, we worked with the Community Foundation and the Mayor's Association to do a deep dive on what does regional cooperation look like, and is there low-hanging fruit that we can work from. We did it. I helped facilitate the conversation about Good Neighbor Pledge, which is an anti-poaching agreement, which really doesn't have any teeth to it, and it's more about developing trust. How are we developing trust between the mayors and the folks that work with them? Well,
when you say anti-poaching, the first thing that comes to my mind are automobile dealerships, mm-hmm. because I see poaching.
Yeah.
I have seen poaching. I haven't seen poaching recently. Yeah. But, you know, when I was growing up, of course, Cadillac, Tom Williams was downtown. Mm-hmm. Adamson Ford was now something else, yeah. But it was downtown. What you're saying is the anti-poaching agreement, which for your information means, I'm just not picking on any particular municipality, but Irondale won't come in and steal one of Trustful's businesses by offering them some incentive that makes it more attractive to the detriment of the community that it's being taken away from.
If you took a bunch of dominoes and put them on the table, and that table is Jefferson County, you're just moving those dominoes around, and all it does is benefit one community over another. It's not increasing the overall vitality of the county. Maybe for one of those cities, but not necessarily the county in general, which doesn't help us all prosper.
But what you also said was it doesn't have any teeth in it, and we're really relying on the word of the particular municipal government, mm-hmm. that they won't do that.
Yeah. When it started out, we had 23 mayors sign on. 23 out of the 37 sign on. By the next term, we had some mayors move on and new ones come in. The Mayor's Association took it on as an overall association agreement. And I've seen probably at least 10 times to where the pledge was enacted and the mayors would talk to the other, and the process that was put into place worked. And it developed that speed of trust. So that was one example. The Community Foundation of Greater Birmingham was a big part of helping support that, and talked about it a lot of other things like 911 consolidation and a regional jail. All things that are good, but they're lofty goals.
Yeah. And
we really have to recognize that some of these things take baby steps, and they take a lot of time, coming from what could have been at one great city back in the 60s. Now the Community Foundation, some of their board members, the Birmingham Business Alliance, some of our board members are going to get together to have a conversation about what can we do, because that was a part of BBA's original goal and strategy, was how can we better support regional cooperation.
So, and is that working? What does the future look like? What are the plans for the future?
Well, we'll see. Coming out of that meeting in December, we'll better understand what we think low-hanging fruit is. There are some great opportunities with 911. The ambulance issues that we've seen here over the last year, I worked on that as a county commissioner. I think there's some great opportunities there. We currently have 57 fire departments, 19 ECDs, emergency communications districts, that are all separate 911 centers. So it doesn't make for a lot of confusion in some instances, because as a citizen, when you dial 911, you don't care where they come from, you just want them to come right now.
Yeah, and you don't know where you're calling.
And especially with cell phones these days, right?
Yeah.
But there's one place between at the end of the Red Mountain Expressway that, depending on where you are, you could be in one of 4 different municipalities.
What that's true. On a negative note, because you have to address the public perception of Birmingham. We've had a history that we have worked through, that we now celebrate and recognize as part of our history and embrace it. We have problems, but no different than other municipalities in the world of crime. Are you hearing things from others that express disdain or reluctance to come here for those reasons? And how do you deal with that when you hear about it?
I think that it is there, that it is an issue for folks that haven't come here, and we always say that we have a history, but our history doesn't define who we are now. We are different now. We've grown, and this is a great place to live. We have a great quality of life, great opportunities, and we need to continue to try to develop those opportunities and market to those folks that haven't been here. Because if we can attract them, we can create a visitor, and in turn, from that visitor, we can create a job.
And there's so many intangibles in some of the things that go on that people don't really appreciate. And when I say that, I think of the World Games, but I don't want to talk about that right now, particularly because we're out of time.
And we haven't talked about the transplant games or the World Police and Fire Games that are coming here in 24 and 25.
Which are big deals, by the way. But we're out of time. So we appreciate you being with us this Sunday. Maybe we'll have Steve back to report on the summit at some later date. This is Our Issues Birmingham. Thanks for being with us this Sunday, and we'll see you next week.
Good Morning Alabama, breaking down why it matters to you, forecasting for your neighborhood so you'll know what's next, and showing you traffic trouble before you go. Check us out tomorrow, because this team is working for you. Mornings, 4:30 to 7 a.m.